Chapter 22, Antiquity Pet Contract. Su Ping inspected the status of his body attentively. He had just become a battle pet warrior. He also had to admit that battle pet warriors and average people were worlds apart. Just on the front of antiquity alone, Su Ping had detected a great difference. He had become lissom and his sight, hearing, and the rest of the five senses had become 2 times as acute as before. In the Federation, battle pet warriors are divided into 9 ranks. Those from the 1st to the 3rd ranks are elementary battle pet warriors. From the 4th to the 6th are intermediate battle pet warriors. The ones at the 7th rank are advanced battle pet warriors, and those at the 8th rank are battle pet masters who enjoy a high status, and can be qualified as professors in famous academies. As for the 9th rank battle pet warriors, the highest rank, they have titles conferred upon them and are admired by the public. Beyond that rank are the legendary Beast King battle pet warriors. Each of such people is a legend. Their life experiences are adapted to movies and novels, so that their stories and exploits can be disseminated through the generations. People will still remember them even after 100 years of their passing. Just now, the original core talent has just awakened in me. I haven't started the Battle Pet Warriors training and there's no astral power in me at all. I cannot even qualify as a first-rank Battle Pet Warrior. Cultivation as a Battle Pet Warrior. Cultivation had posed a conundrum for Su Ping. He was no longer able to get admitted to Astral Pet Academies given his age. After all, he had passed the age limit. That is, unless he was admitted via special recruitment due to an outstanding performance. The main knowledge source on cultivation for elementary battle pet warriors were the various Astral Pet Academies. While there were some cultivation methods of battle pet warriors posted online, they were superficial. There were no examples for practical applications. Do I have to ask my sister for advice? Su Ping dismissed the idea as soon as it popped up, at the thought of her arrogant face. No matter which way he looked at it, the chances of his sister being willing to teach him would be 0. No, actually, below 0. He would be mercilessly mocked by her as well. Su Ping shook his head. Anyways, he had become a battle pet warrior. He had to make a contract with a pet first. Su Ping knew the basics of making a contract with a pet. This was no secret. Anyone with some fundamental understanding of pets would know. The number of pets a battle pet warrior can make a contract with is directly linked to spiritual power. The stronger the spiritual power is, the more pets can be contracted and the pets will be stronger as well. Usually, a battle pet warrior cannot establish a contract with a pet that is 2 ranks higher than him/herself. Otherwise, the pressure on the spirit would hinder the mind to descend into insanity until one became mentally retarded. Su Ping was not even a first-rank battle pet warrior. The kinds of pets that he could make contracts with were few and far between. Lucky for him, there was one in the store. Remembering that little skeleton, Su Ping began to have second thoughts. That little thing was of practically no value and it would take up a spot if he were to build a contract with it. The more pets were contracted, the higher the pressure on the master's mind would be. If I were to buy other pets when my strength could be improved over time, I would tie them down and their development would be suffocated because most pets with advanced bloodlines would stay in the 1st rank for a very short time. Su Ping frowned. As such, there was not much of a choice for him. He had to go with the low-rank pets. Fortunately, he could remove the contract once he became more powerful in the future. Removing the contract would add a burden to his mind as well. Within 3 days, he would lose his combat abilities. That being said, with the protection of the pet store, such side effects could be ignored. Having made up his mind, Su Ping stopped worrying. He went back to the lobby. Slap. The little skeleton seemed to be scared by Su Ping. It rolled down from the chair by the counter, then it fell to the ground, turning into a pile of bones that slowly reassembled. Su Ping was speechless. This little skeleton appeared to be timid. This was rarely seen among pets of the demon family. "Little guy, you will be my pet from now on." Su Ping moved closer. He picked up the little skeleton from the ground and placed it on the counter. The little skeleton sat there silently, staring at Su Ping blankly with its hollowed eye sockets. Su Ping was happy that the little skeleton was behaving. The only benefit of a timid pet was the fact that they could be tamed easily. He was about to make the contract when, suddenly, he heard the system's message. "Does the host want to purchase an antiquity pet contract?" Antiquity pet contract? Su Ping did not understand. The antiquity pet contract is a form of astral pet contract and is equipped with all the features of the current astral pet contracts. The only difference is that the pet's emotions can be sensed via the antiquity pet contract. Also, within a specific range, the pet can be called back to the pet space at any time, provided that the pet is not constrained or sealed in any way, the system explained, with particular patience. Su Ping was left staring, open-mouthed. Different effects could come from varied contracts? In his memory, there was only one form of astral pet contracts. Nobody knew that there could be other contracts apart from this common astral pet contract. Besides, wasn't this antiquity pet contract a bit too fabulous to be able to summon the pet back at any time? Being the case, once the pet sensed danger, it could be summoned back to avoid a sacrifice. For battle pet warriors, this was a master skill. Su Ping became alerted as his mind wandered to his point. "How much energy does it cost?" 100 points of energy will do, the system replied. Su Ping was amazed. Just 100 energy points? Why would such an excellent article be sold at such a cheap price? Even the elementary beast catching ring would cost 100 energy points in this shop. Consider this contract somewhat like a gift from the system. The actual price is far dearer than this. The system sounded casual. Really? Su Ping was skeptical. Could it be that this was a complimentary offering to begin with, and the system was ripping him off? Warning. First profanity alert. Did you just admit it? Su Ping wore a sardonic grin. The system remained silent. Su Ping went through some unspoken criticism in his heart. While he hated to part with his energy points, he did make up his mind and purchased it. For the moment, the contract might not be of great help to him. That being said, beyond all question, this antiquity pet contract was valuable. Furthermore, this contract was not a disposable item. It could be used repeatedly and with all his pets. He could use it for a long time to come. If in the future, this contract could enable him to save the life of an advanced pet, then the 100 energy points would be well spent. -100. Purchase success. The antiquity pet contract has arrived. Please check, the system reminded him. Before Su Ping had the time to cry over his lost energy points, he found a complicated mark emerging in his mind. The mark, seemingly made up of many lines, was drawn in his memory stroke by stroke, until it could not be forgotten and he would remember it to the end of his days. Lead with blood and engrave with an array? Su Ping came back to his senses, still quite confused and stupefied. He focused his mind and the contract method of this antiquity pet contract emerged once more, shocking him again. This contract was not made with astral powers. His blood would be the medium and the content was the array depicted with complex and mysterious lines. Such a contract would be firm and would not be cut off unless the master removed the contract by his own accord. Apart from being able to summon the astral pet back, this contract is similar to the ones built with astral powers, including removing the contract. I would lose combat abilities for 3 days. Su Ping took a closer look. The system did not lie to him. Chapter 23, Mutation. Su Ping shifted his focus back to the little skeleton. According to the process described in the antiquity pet contract, he bit his finger and slowly painted the little skeleton's forehead with his blood. The little skeleton was still sitting there, absent-minded. It seemed to be oblivious of everything around it, but then the little skeleton reacted to the smell of blood on Su Ping's finger. A faint scarlet color appeared in its hollowed eye sockets. The little skeleton slowly lifted its arm to reach towards Su Ping's hand, although the latter retracted his hand right after he finished painting the contract. An intricate blood pattern was engraved on the little skeleton's forehead. As Su Ping lowered his hand, the blood pattern disappeared bit by bit as if the little skeleton had absorbed it. In the next moment, Su Ping felt an additional line in his consciousness that was linked to an external consciousness. The second was a quite feeble consciousness, like a flickering candlelight that could die out at any time. From the weak consciousness, Su Ping felt some faint hints of fear and confusion. Is this the little skeleton's consciousness? Su Ping looked at the little skeleton. With the power granted to him by the contract, he could vividly sense the changes in the little skeleton's emotions. The little skeleton looked up, staring blankly at Su Ping. It was still puzzled about the recent changes it was going through. Su Ping patted its little head. After all, the little skeleton had just come into being. There was no legacy nor memory in it. It was only natural that the little skeleton would be muddle-headed about everything. Su Ping went to open the door. As the sunlight flooded the store, he abruptly sensed fear coming from the little skeleton's mind. He turned around, only to see the little skeleton who had fallen from the counter. The bones scattered around slowly moved into the shades at a corner by the counter. The little skeleton reassembled itself. It was hugging its knees, curled up, shivering from fear. Is it afraid of sunlight? Su Ping was surprised. He realized that he had been ignorant. The majority of pets of the demon family preferred a dark environment. A fraction of them were so afraid of sunlight that they could only stay in darkness. Su Ping came back at once and carried the trembling little skeleton to the pet room at the back. There was an empty nursing pen. Su Ping placed the little skeleton in the stalagmite array. System, this complimentary nursing pen costs 10 coins per hour. What can it do? Su Ping asked out of curiosity. It was not a cheap price to hire the pet boarding service at 10 coins per hour. The free nursing pens are built with scrap spirit stones. The remaining spirit energy and the complex and confusing radiations from the scrap minerals can be of aid in the pet's growth. There is a high chance that the pets can mutate, the system explained. Mutate? Su Ping was startled. Apart from evolution, with the difference in the living environment, there was a small chance that pets could mutate. As for mutation, it implied that the pet would become an entirely different species. Maybe it could become a new and more powerful species, or it could degenerate into a failed species. Some war zones with extremely harsh environments, filled with devastation and technological waste, were the most likely places to breed mutant beasts. Most of the mutant beasts would carry agents with unknown diseases, which would very likely cause plagues or form a large-scale virus attack. Such cases could be lethal to the general public. As such, in most cases, mutated pets were words that could instill panic. At the same time, in scientific pet studies, people never stopped inducing mutations in pets. Many famous 9th-rank pets in the Federation had been the result of mutations by scientific methods. Those pets were proficient in battles, they had also been successfully bred as new species. Are the pets mutated in the slots good or bad? Su Ping consulted the system. The system gave a brief answer, half and half. It is advisable for the host to upgrade the nursing pens into elementary nursing pens, to avoid damaging the store's reputation. Su Ping curled his lips. Fortunately, he thought of asking this question. He already had a bad feeling when the system mentioned radiation of scrap minerals. The cheap buyer takes bad meat. Go ahead and upgrade it. Without hesitation, Su Ping made the decision. First of all, after the upgrade, the rent would be 10 times higher and other benefits would ensue. Second, he couldn't afford to face the possibilities of failed mutations. Harming his customers' pets and having a fallout with them would be detrimental to the store's reputation. The system was not giving him a free nursing pen. The system was planting a sinister bomb. Lucky for him, he had just made some quick cash. Other than that, the business hadn't been good in the past couple of days. Nothing had happened. Minus 20 points of energy. Suddenly, a hazy white light glowed over the two aged stalagmite arrays. When the white light was dispersed, he found that the stalagmite arrays had a brand new appearance. The arrays were practically the same. They used the same sharp stones, but the color of each stalagmite was completely different from before. Previously, it was as if the slots had been built with rough rocks in dim and dreary colors. But then, the stalagmites were like ivories, full of life. Now we are talking. Su Ping was satisfied. His heart began to ache though, since he remembered that this elementary nursing pen would cost him 1 energy point for maintenance every day. It was burning a hole in his pocket. In a blink, less than 100 energy points remained from the original 315. I have to make the most of the time available to earn energy points. I still need to upgrade the Chaos Spirit Pool. Su Ping was filled with anticipation at the thought of the effects that a third-rank Chaos Spirit Pool could bring. If he could breed a pet with a Beast King's bloodline, the mere action of displaying the pet in the store could attract a large group of customers. Is anyone in? Someone was shouting from outside the store. Su Ping found the voice familiar. He rushed out from the pet room in the back. 2 beautifully dressed girls were standing by the door, looking around quite carefully. What? Su Ping immediately recognized one of the girls when he laid eyes on her. It was the girl that came for the lightning rat. Is the owner here? Asked Su Yenying by the door. She looked into the store, confused. Yingying, are you sure this is the place? Lan Lele, who was wearing a gauzy skirt, had tagged along. After looking at such an obscure and disgraceful little store, Lan Lele found it hard to believe that this genius lightning rat had been trained here. This is the place. Su Yenying was certain. This place must have something to do with the changes in my lightning rat. She gradually had a better understanding after the preliminary contests. There was indeed something way off about her lightning rat. After being visited and questioned by her teachers and the class advisor, she realized to a large extent how freakishly strong her lightning rat was. It could be regarded as a coincidence if the lightning rat only learned 1 advanced pet skill. But nobody would think this after seeing how the lightning rat could use 2 of such skills. She threw her teachers off the scent. After all, she wasn't really sure. And yet, she did know that this might have something to do with the pet store where she left her lightning rat for temporary boarding. Before that, the lightning rat had been quite ordinary and it had never come into contact with anything else before the stay at the pet store. With such analysis, she believed the only variable in the equation was the pet store. Chapter 24, What did you do to it? The owner is here. Su Yenying's eyes brightened slightly when she saw Su Ping coming out from the back. She stepped forward right then, dragging her friend with her. Hi, what can I do for you? Su Ping moved to the counter and his eyebrows were knitted together. His heart was in extreme pain as he thought about the mere 108 coins he received for that outstanding lightning rat. Su Yenying noticed that Su Ping's expression appeared to be unnatural. While she found it bizarre, she did not pry further. Sir, do you remember the lightning rat I picked up? She threw out her question in a hasty manner. Rip. It was the sound of the scar in his heart being torn open. Su Ping curled his lips and his face darkened. What is wrong with it? There is nothing wrong with it. I'm only asking if you did anything to it. Su Yenying couldn't hold back from asking this question. Su Ping remained silent for a long time before he said, What do you think I would do to a rat? Well. Su Yenying realized that her question was phrased oddly. Her cheeks blushed as she went on in a low voice, Sir, that's not what I meant. I'm only wondering if it was trained here. She uttered those words with prudence and respect. If the lightning rat had been trained there, then there had to be master trainers working in this place. Even battle pet warriors with titles would have to treat such master trainers with respect and politeness. Of course, she also had to do the same. Oh. Su Ping was intrigued. He understood the intention of their visit, based on the information he heard from his sister Su Lingyu. This girl saw that little rat in action, so she returned to find out the reason for its growth. There was one thing, though. This matter involved the pet store's secret and the system, things that he could not expose. Su Ping made up a random answer. If taking it for a walk can count as training, then yes, I did train it for a couple of days. Su Yenying did not see this coming. Walks? Of course I have to take it outside for a walk after a good meal, Su Ping said off the top of his head. He was about to be convinced by his own words. Su Yenying was losing patience with Su Ping playing with her. Sir, I'm being serious. Did you not train it at all? She asked in a hurry. Su Ping frowned a bit. She was persistent. What does it have to do with you if it was trained here or not? I can compensate you if you think there is something wrong with it, or you can return it and I will buy it. If you find it in good shape, then I will be okay, if you want to give me more money. Other than that, please leave if you have nothing else to do here. Don't interrupt my business. Su Yenying never expected that the store owner would tell them to leave so directly. She recovered from her shock soon and hurried to explain, Sir, this is not what I'm saying. I am merely seeking confirmation. If you have trained it for me, please let me know, all right? Su Ping raised his eyebrows. If so, then yes. Are you happy now? Su Yenying found it hard to find words. Hey, you, we're not here to look for trouble. If you trained Lightning Rat, then tell us. We're not going to hurt you, Lan Lele said, unsatisfied by Su Ping's attitude. Su Ping kept a straight face. I already said it. I trained the Lightning Rat. But if you want to know the process and methods, then I will have to say sorry. Su Yenying finally found the root of their misunderstanding. She shook her head at once. Sir, I have no desire to look into the methods and process of your training. I'm just very grateful to you for training my pet. Oh, I see, Su Ping put away his cold face and said, if you want to say thank you, then give me some more money. What? Su Yenying was stunned. Money? As far as she could tell, a person able to train the Lightning Rat to such a degree had to be a hermit who would not care about such worldly items. You don't have money? Su Ping's eyebrows were knitted together. Coldness returned to his face again. Looking at how Su Ping changed his face, Su Yenying had the feeling that she had made a mistake since the very beginning. Was her Lightning Rat trained elsewhere? I finally understand what it means when people say that before gold, even kings take off their hats. Lan Lele couldn't help but complain about Su Ping's reaction. She grabbed Su Yenying's hand and said, Ying, you must have made a mistake. There's no way that your Lightning Rat was trained in such a place. That little thing had an epiphany or something else happened. Let's go back and discuss it. Su Yenying came back to her senses and shook her head. Since the owner has admitted that there was some training, I believe the change happened here. Anyways, I must thank the owner for taking care of the Lightning Rat. With that said, Su Yenying noticed that Su Ping's expression was the same as before and was unmoved by her words. She realized something. She took out her phone and transferred 1,000. Sir, this is a thank you. Su Ping didn't expect that the girl would pay the extra money, and she was quite generous at that. After a moment of surprise, he nodded and said, Good, good. I would appreciate it if you can give me more. Su Yenying did not know how to respond to that. Of course, she wasn't going to give him more money. What kind of person is he? Lan Lele almost burst into flames after hearing Su Ping's reply. At that moment, she just caught a glimpse of the many pet foods behind the counter. Her eyes were wide open in astonishment. 300 for a plant? Such ridiculous pricing. She grabbed Su Yaniying's arm at once. Let's go, this is not a legitimate store. He's ripping us off. Alerted by her cries, Su Yaniying became dazed for a second. Then, she cast a look at the pet food behind Su Ping. She, as well, was startled by what she saw. Still, she remained on the spot. Lan Lele failed to drag her away. A moment later, she came back to her senses. She took a look at Su Ping, who was still composed. There was no trace of shame in him. Su Ping could tell from Su Yaniying's looks that she was deliberating. After a moment of hesitation, Su Yanying asked, "Sir, can I leave a few more pets here? Is that okay?" Naturally, Su Ping was glad when there was business. Yes, of course. For how long? He nodded at once. 3 days. Su Yanying replied after some thought. Su Ping nodded slightly. He took out an old-fashioned calculator and pushed the buttons rapidly. For 3 days, that is 3 by 24. Well, each pet will cost you 7,200 coins. How many do you want to leave here? 3 pets. Halfway through her sentence, Su Yaniying glared at Su Ping in utter astonishment. How much is that? Is there something wrong with my ears? By her side, Lan Lele was perplexed as well. 1 pet, 7,200 coins. Su Ping raised his eyebrows when he saw how the 2 girls reacted. 7,200 coins? Su Yaniying repeated the numbers. She was still questioning the possibility of her hearing acting up. 7,200 coins for 1 pet? Sir, I just want to leave them in your care for 3 days only. Su Ping nodded. I know. This is the price for a 3-day stay. The charge is 100 per hour. So, the result comes as 7,200 for 3 days, no more, no less. 100 per hour? Lan Lele sized Su Ping up and down as if he were a monster.